everyone, it's Laura with Pampered Chef here. As I've mentioned before, I'm not much of a baker, but when I saw this recipe, I was like, oh, I can do that. So this recipe was really, really easy, and I'm going to show you. I've already put together most of it, okay? So the batter, you can actually take tubes of sugar cookie dough, but I found a really easy recipe, and it was just super easy to make up on your own. So you take sugar cookie, and the key to a good sugar cookie recipe, ooh, say that 3 times fast. Anyway, is using almond extract. So I make my own homemade vanilla, and then almond extract gives it a really good flavor. So you're not gonna get that if you buy the pre-done stuff, but if you wanna make it super easy, buy the rolls. So you buy 2 rolls. So let me show you what I'm doing. So right here is all the it's not really cookies, they're bars, and we put them right in here. And then my camera is like being really weird, so sorry. Okay, so now what am I gonna do? So now I'm taking the large scoop, okay, and putting it in the brownie pan. So when I bake, I always have to ask myself, how lazy do I want to be? How much effort do I want to put into this? I'm not a baker. I mean, I like baked goods, but I like to eat them, but I like it when somebody else makes them. Okay, so the secret ingredient to these, so imagine sugar cookie dough, and then I put 3 ripe bananas in. Now, obviously, if you're not a banana fan, you may not like these, but you guys, they're really good, okay? And you add in your chocolate chips. And now I'm doing good size helping of the dough, okay? So here's what I do. I take this little spreader thingy, and I just smush them down a little bit so that they're more evenly at the bottom of the pan. Yeah, I don't know if this is what you're supposed to do, but this is what I do. Okay, we put it in the oven. Now the recipe is gonna call for a big, like a 8x8. So you bake that longer. But this is what they look like, okay? So now that I've taken these out, they have a ganache that goes on top. So how do we make the ganache? And don't be counting. There was one that had to be tested. So now how do we make the ganache? So we have 2 cups of chocolate chips, and then we use heavy whipping cream. Now the heavy whipping cream is important. You can actually make truffles using that. And then you take a whisk, which mine seems to be MIA. So we're going to use the mini whisk, okay? We're going to use the mini whisk. So truffles can be made like this. You take your heavy whipping cream and you take your chocolate chips and you melt them and you actually let it sit overnight. And then you roll them into balls. And you can put little toppings on them, so like cocoa powder or powdered sugar or sprinkles or whatever. So this ganache, we're gonna take this and I'm gonna melt it and then I'm gonna mix it up and pour it on top. Now what's cool about these is I am gonna freeze these so that they don't get eaten all at once. Now here's another option. Here's our bar pan that you can, remember I said I have to gauge on how much effort do I want to put into what I'm making, okay? So you can take the rest of the dough and put the rest of it right here in the bar pan. This is the medium bar pan. So my dough will probably be a little bit thin on the bottom, but that's okay. These, I did test one, and I ain't gonna lie, it was pretty good. Now again, like I said, if you don't like banana, you may not. You wait and like these. Now, how do you know your banana is ripe enough? Well, they have brown spots on the peel. That's how you know that they're ripe enough, okay? So how do you know if your ganache is ready? So I did a minute and they're not quite melty. So we're just spreading this around. See, this is more effort than even what this is why I'm not a baker. This is why I call my friends and say, hey, will you make me? My professional baker friends. Okay, so now there's tons of variations you can do with this. So sugar cookie dough, okay, which is what I made, you can do so many variations on your mix-ins. I have seen peanut butter, I have seen, of course, chocolate chips, but you can do so many. So I'm gonna post the recipe and some variations, and then try this at home, and then you can freeze them. So what I do is I'll put them in on a sheet pan, freeze them, and then put them in the bag. That way they don't freeze as a clump together. So anyway, have a happy Saturday.